Welcome back to NBA Cinema. So today we have Kendrick Perkins calling out Charles Barkley for some statements he made towards ESPN analysts and debate shows talking about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers and Golden State Warriors and, Steph Curry. And they talk about these topics day in and day out, but it's about bringing in clicks, bringing in viewership, and seeing what the masses would like to see and hear them talk about. Well, Perk caught wind of Charles Barkley's statements on Inside the NBA. Charles Barkley says that these teams are very old and, they aren't going to really do anything in the postseason. And right now they're both in a situation where they would have to be in a play-in to vie for that eighth seed. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's ahead of them right now. We're going to take a listen to what Chuck said first. We're going to listen to Kendrick Perkins' response on Pat McAfee's show. Let's peep.
The West is going to go down to the wire. I mean, plain and simple. It's going to be fun to watch. Our sister network on the idiots on the other network keep talking about the Lakers and the Warriors like they got a chance. But listen,
have a chance. It's called the play-in.
The play-in is not a real thing, just for the record. That's just something we made up, Shaq. It's just like the CBI tournament. That's what the Lakers and Warriors.
Oh, God, you already in college basketball. Man, the CBI's not
making up stuff.
CBI's not.
They should thank Adam Silver for making up some stuff. Hey, let's just add a couple teams to the playoffs so the Lakers and Warriors can get in.
I saw Charles Barkley say something hilarious. He said, the idiots at the other network, okay, I think he's talking about ESPN, keep talking like the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors have a chance. Shaq checked them immediately, was like, they have the play-in. And then Chuck, the play-in's not real, is what Charles Barkley said immediately. Now, Charles Barkley's one of the greatest speakers of all time. Anytime he talks, I will listen. The Miami Heat were in a play-in game, and then they make it to the final. So there is a chance to go from potentially on the bubble all the way in there. But what are your thoughts on all that? Are the Lakers and Golden State dead? Is this something that you and ESPN are just pushing because LeBron James does numbers on the SportsCenter Instagram account, Perk?
Well, let me say this.
Okay.
First thing first, okay? Charles Barkley is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Okay, that's number one.
With his head.
Everything that comes out of his mouth is not the gospel. Now, he's an all-time great. He has done a hell of a job in the media world, and I respect him like crazy. But here's the thing. We're going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, and we're going to talk about the Golden State Warriors. You know why? Because they have LeBron James, who is arguably the greatest to ever touch the damn basketball. And you have Steph Curry, who is a generational talent and a top 10 all-timer. Okay? And we have to appreciate them. Because when both of those guys are gone, what else are we going to talk about? We can't talk about them. So the fact of the matter is that they're both, 4 or 5 games above 500, so they're a really good basketball team. They just happen to be in the Western Conference. And the playoffs started right after the All-Star break in the Western Conference. So we're talking about these play-in games because it matters. Can you imagine this? Imagine a world this postseason without having Steph Curry or LeBron James in it. Like, we can't do that.
Can't.
Like, so we need one of them to make it. The world needs it.
Need it, Chuck.
I get what Charles is saying. Do I think they're going to make noise, either one of those teams in the postseason? Hell no. But at the end of the day, we have to appreciate who the hell is on that team.
So, listening to what Charles Barkley had to say and what Kendrick Perkins had to say, I will say this. ESPN has to touch and go on the most profitable teams there are out there. Where Inside the NBA is about the NBA. So you expect to hear about every team that's in action that night, to some degree. And they do talk more in depth about the Lakers, the Warriors, and some of these other teams just because that is what viewers, most viewers want to see. These storied franchises, right? But again, ESPN, you're going to hear about LeBron James, Lakers, Steph Curry, Warriors, and you may hear a little bit about some up-and-coming stars like Luka Doncic and some of those other ones. Ja Morant, a lot of times Ja Morant when he was in trouble, really. But, you're going to hear about those sorts of things on there because they're going to touch and go. They're going to talk about, I can't even say boxing no more, but they're going to talk about football. They're going to talk about Dallas Cowboys extensively. They're going to talk about this upcoming draft. You know, and those will be the things that they cover mostly. You know, so they'll be talking in circles about those type of topics. So what Chuck is saying, I mean, I hear what he's trying to say, but the fact of the matter is they have to cover them. And Kendrick Perkins is like Charles Barkley isn't the brightest, guy out there anyway. So taking his word as gospel is flawed in itself. So Kendrick Perkins really winded his neck a little bit, man, and let him know, like, look, Chuck, we respect you, but your words ain't the law. We're going to continue to cover this game the way we want to cover it, or, the way that the network wants us to cover it. And, you're going to get some rebuttals back from this network at times. So, and I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Chuck went on Stephen A. Smith's shows recently on his podcast. And so he probably wasn't talking towards Stephen A. Smith, which that would leave Perk, those guys, open to the ones, that he's criticizing, and Perk not taking it. Now, on one hand, I don't like any network getting two people of color just to argue over some basketball, and get rich off of the back and forth. So hopefully this stops here. Honestly, I don't want to see it go back and forth with Draymond and Charles Barkley. I said Draymond with Kendrick Perkins and Charles Barkley. But I am glad he stepped up to the plate and voiced his opinion, based off of some things that Chuck was saying. Because Chuck said the Lakers were old in the COVID year and they went out and won the championship. So you don't have to necessarily take nobody's word as gospel. Everybody's guessing. Teams can get better. Teams can click at the right time. Again, the Lakers, do I think they're going to win the championship? No. But I do think out of them and the Warriors, the biggest threat to OKC or Minnesota in the first round will be the Lakers. Now, they're not beating Denver, so they need to avoid that matchup. But if they get OKC or Minnesota, we'll probably see the same thing that happened to Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies that year where they drew LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, just last season. So that's my thoughts on it, man. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.